Bob. Yes, sirree, Bob. Wrong way. What's going on? It is Monday. It is Monday. It is hot as hell outside. That's just typical Alabama weather. So appreciate you stopping in. This is OZZz on Smash Bros Radio. If you haven't done, please go share, follow, like, whatever you have to do. Share us with your families and friends and all. We are located in Birmingham, Alabama. We're the only operational digital radio station in Birmingham in Jefferson County. Hey, we're going to talk about being more aware, being more watchful, being more concerned with events and circumstances and situations that are happening to us. But before we go anything, let me tell you, if you're looking for a place, because these things have changed, and we're going to have to modify the way that we did things in the past. So I found two fantastic products, really three, that are minority owned, black owned, and you can't get any better than these three companies. One is the Black Bread Company. You can find them on Facebook. Let me tell you, Black Bread Company is a fantastic. Let me tell you, that bread is damn good. Let's be point blank. That bread is damn good. That I would put that bread up against any major bread that is out there. So please check them out. You can find them on Facebook. It's Black Bread Company. So please check them out. Look at their product, and let me tell you, that stuff is good as hell. Another, if you are a coffee drinker, Alicia's Coffee, you can find also on Facebook as well as on Instagram. Please, please, please. So you got the Black Bread Company, and you got Alicia's Coffee. Both can be found on Facebook. And then the last, let me get over here quickly. Yeah. Also, if you're looking for some water, 1186 Real Artesian Water. It comes from Alabama itself, Pawtuckaville, Alabama. So you got three companies that are black owned. You have the Black Bread Company, you have Alicia's Coffee, and now you have 1186 Real Artesian Water. All are three fantastic products. I suggest and recommend that you check them out. And then let me know how you feel about them. And also let them contact them and let them know what you feel about their product, because you cannot get any better than what you got there. So, got that out of the way. There has been a lot of stuff going on, and we have got to be more aware. We have to wake up. We have to start paying attention. We got to start making sure that we are aware of what is transpiring around us. And let's be perfectly honest and clear and raw, and I am not going to be politically correct because there's no purpose in it when you talk about racism. You cannot be politically correct when you talk about racism. You can't do it. You can't do it. There's no way that you can be nice when it comes to racism. And as I have stated many times before, I personally think that if you are a racist, then you have a mental problem. And I think racism is a mental issue, is a mental problem. Because I don't understand the rationale. I don't understand the concept. I don't understand the principle of how you can be a racist. Now understand, in the bigger picture, I'm not pro-black. I'm not pro-white. I'm not pro-female. I'm not pro-male. I'm not pro-gay. I'm pro-human. What it comes down to. I am pro-human. So, if you need to find out, if you like to do a lot of research, if you like to read, I suggest you get the book, From Babylon to Timbuktu. You can find the book on Amazon. It's a fantastic book. It has a lot of information that corrects a lot of misinformed information that we were taught. So from Babylon, B-A-B, there it is. From Babylon to Timbuktu. It's just only $13. Let me see if I can put it up there. Let me see if I can put it up there. Let me see if I can put it up there. Babylon to Timbuktu. If you like to read, if you like to research, if you like to add something to your library, that is a fantastic book. That is a fantastic book. A history from Babylon to Timbuktu, a history of the ancient black races, including the black Hebrews. Mm-hmm. Because, see, a lot of history has been whitewashed. A lot of the majority of history has been whitewashed. And that should not surprise you. That's one reason why certain groups or certain political parties don't like the critical race theory. It has nothing to do with racism. It has to do with teaching true, pure history. And it's not taught in K through 12. And in most cases, it's not even taught in college classes unless you're taking African American history. And in some classes, if you're taking, what is it? The education class. But there, we have got to start paying attention to what is happening to us. We have to. When you have all these shootings going on, and it seems like it's sort of like a copycat. And then it's frightening to think that an 18-year-old has the ability to buy an AK. And so, first of all, no one can take your rights to own arms. Second of all, those of you who are in, listen, I graduated in 78, so I'm a group, 40-year group. So I know 40 years ago, initially we had Alabama history. Here in Alabama, you had Alabama history, then you had civics. And then when you got into high school, you had government and economics. And then when I taught AP classes, I taught AP government and also AP mic and macroeconomics. If you have not read the Federalist Papers, if you have not read the Anti-Federalist Papers, well, then pretty much you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And then if it's been over 40 years since you graduated, well, then you know for a fact that you do not even know what your constitutional rights are. Let's be realistic. And the only reason why I remember so much is because I taught it and I keep on preaching it. So, I would be in the same boat that you are in, but I taught it, I researched it, I went through the training for it. So when it comes to the Second Amendment, that it says that the right to bear arms, they weren't talking about individuals. They were talking about a militia. They were talking about a militia bearing arms. So, and then for these Republicans to come up, and who are lawyers, most of them, to have the audacity to lie about what the Second Amendment was all about, well, then that should show you they're treacherous, they're trifling, they're difficult, and some of them should just sit their asses down. But we're in a situation to where government is not going to be the government that we knew of the past. The government is going to be few. And then if you've noticed, let me back up. The Supreme Court is going to finally come out with its decisions today and Wednesday. And they've already come out with some other decisions. So you need to pay attention to what this court has decided when it comes to certain things. Now, when it comes to the border states, or when it comes to the border of the United States, those individuals' 14th Amendment has been wiped out. That means that law enforcement can invade their property without any type of violation. And that's frightening for the Supreme Court of the United States to be able to wipe away certain rights. And then is even more frightening when you have the chance that they are going to eliminate the 50 years of Roe v. Wade. And people don't seem to understand the relevancy, excuse me, or the significance of that. The relevancy and the significance of that is that if the Supreme Court comes down and it wipes out, it changes, it modifies Roe v. Wade, that means that those states that are run by Republican parties are going to outlaw abortions. Those states that are run by Democrats are going to allow abortions set by their state standards and guidelines. Which means that here in Alabama, since we are run by the idiots, and I'm talking about the Republican Party, a woman does not have a say over her body. The old white men, or the white men, period, have a say. So, a woman here in Alabama would not be allowed to have an abortion unless they follow certain guidelines. Which means that if you are able to travel to a state that allows abortions, then you can have an abortion in that state. But what if you come back, or when you come back to Alabama, are you going to be held on a federal charge? And it's possible with these WASPs, these white Anglo-Saxon Protestant males who have nothing better to do except for just dictating what a woman should do with her body. Now understand, I'm against abortions only to the point I cannot say what a woman should have. I will not tell a woman what to do with her body. I cannot tell a woman what to do with her body. That's not my body. And I don't care what type of scenario you come up with. It is not, no one has a right to tell anybody what they can and cannot do with their body. Unless it's, there's always cases. But no one has that right. So it's going to be interesting to see what these decisions are in which the Supreme Court has come down with. And it's even more frightening that when finally you have a bipartisan bill that might come up, but the Republican Party still has not changed the age. An 18-year-old should not have the right nor the ability to purchase any type of weaponry. And personally, I do not think that an AK or any type of weaponry or rifle in that type of caliber should be owned by a civilian. I just don't think it. I think weaponry or ammunition as such should only be housed by the law enforcement, the military, and that's it. And I don't want to hear anything about, well, that's why I go hunting with it. You cannot hunt. Well, you can, but you wouldn't have any meat because the meat will be destroyed. So, it is what it is. But we have to start paying attention. And then what is even more frightening, you have 33 white men, mutants as I call them. And that's what basically I call white folks mutants, because everybody knows that since we have no color or no pigmentation in our skin, we're mutants. Look at everything in nature. You have the white buffalo, they have a white alligator, they have a pink or white dolphin. They're mutants. And really scientifically speaking, white folks are mutants. Google it. Check it out. And tell me if I'm telling the truth or not. And if I'm not telling the truth, give me the source. Give me the page where to find it, and I'll read it myself. And if I'm incorrect, I have no problem in apologizing. But when you have 33 men of the Proud Boys to be caught because they were going to a pride rally and they were armed, then that's frightening. And if you look, I think it was on TikTok that I saw, if you look at the names, don't be surprised that all the 33 men did not even come from Idaho. There was one that came from Alabama. I'm not surprised. But you have to start paying more attention. And again, as I have stated in numerous and previous times before, there was no question about abortion until more white women were having abortions. The WAPs could care less as long as the minorities were having abortions. But when it comes to an issue that's affecting the white community, that's when the white folks start jumping up and start screaming and hollering. So there wasn't a question about abortion. There wasn't even a concern or an issue with abortion until more white women were having abortions. There was no question about gun own until the Black Panthers started carrying weapons. And they carried the weapons to protect the black community. They weren't not, I mean, they had nothing to do with white folks. They were protecting their black community. They were taking care of their black community. Their primary purpose were their black communities. And you need to check out, if those of you who like to read and those of you who like to research, check out the Black Wall Street, the massacre. Also, if you want to, check out all the cities that have had riots. Because if I remember correctly, if I remember the number, there have been over 20 race riots in the United States. And we only know of Rosewood. We only know of Seneca Falls, which is up in New York, where the Central Park is located. Because at one time, Central Park was a black community. It was a mixed community. Very prominent. And then if you wish to go further, look at the lakes. Lakes have been formed, have been developed, have been created to wipe out the black communities because the communities wanted to stay white. And you still have that mentality now. That's why you have the January 6th committee coming out with the information. Now, some people, you're not going to change their minds because they're mentally ill. It is what it is. That's why we have got to start modifying and changing the way that we think and changing and modifying the way that we do things. Because the things are not going to get any better. The government is going to be more governmental when it comes to telling us the do's and don'ts. They're not going to be able to assist. And you need those of us who are on Social Security, you need to start paying attention to those the Senate hearings, because they're having hearings now on Social Security because the Republican Party wants to wipe it out. They want to modify it. They want to redo it. But they don't tell you that during Bush's administration, they raided Social Security twice. And they had promised they would put the money back in, and they have yet to put the money back in. And those of us who are on Social Security hopefully will be grandfathered in. And I say hopefully because at one time I would think, well, they couldn't do it because those of us who are already on Social Security, you cannot change. But I don't know anymore. I never thought that the orange tangerine idiot would be elected. And look at it. He got elected. It's like a bad rash. Can't get rid of. Can't even come up with any type of ointment to get rid of them. And again, I have stated on numerous times and multiple times that if the majority of your friends are white and you have not sat down and talked to them about what is transpiring, what is happening, what is going on, and you haven't had that raw talk, well, then you need to have that talk. Because if your white friends support Trump, you don't need to have them as friends. They do not have your interest at heart. And then, two, you need to start paying attention to your children with these white kids. But y'all need to start having this talk. You need to find out what do you think about race relations? Do you think that there is a race problem? What do you think about affirmative action? Do you think there's even a problem? But you need to have those discussions because eventually you're going to have to decide. And 9 times out of 10, your white friends are going to support the white community. They're going to forget you, your interest, because they're going to be too scared to speak out because they're going to be scared at what their neighbors, what their friends, what their associates think. That's why it's very cautious. You should be very cautious, and you should be talking to your children and let them know that you better know right from wrong. Because there have been many examples to where you've had kids go out, and there's like 1 or 2 black kids, and they get into trouble, and all of a sudden the white kids turn on their black friends and say, well, they made us do it. I mean, what? Are you serious? And then they want to apologize. Well, there was a misunderstanding. There wasn't no misunderstanding. They showed you the truth themselves. I've been an open book. Everybody knows where I stand on issues. I always have. Haven't changed. Might have gotten more radical and worse. And understand that the word radical can be good and bad, depending on how it is used. And there's a difference between being prejudiced and being a racist. 2 different things. I'm prejudiced in that I don't like avocados. Not that now if it's in what is guacamole or something like that, I can eat them. But as for just making a sandwich, I ain't gonna do that. No. Nope. So I'm prejudiced against avocados. I'm prejudiced against certain cars. I don't like Fords. I'm a Chevy man. So, but see, we don't like using those hard, raw words. If you do not like me because of my race, you're a racist. And understand, again, there is only one race, and that is the human race. And as in every family, you underneath the umbrella of the family, you're going to have different groups from different families, just like you have here. And it amazes me that some individuals would think that, well, I can't be a racist because my boyfriend's black or my girlfriend's black. You're probably the most racist individual out there because everyone knows, and let's be honest, let's be raw, let's be serious. The only reason why you going with that one reason why you have that black boyfriend is because you like his dick. Let's be serious. Which is really frightening, because then you have, well, I have interracial kids, but what are you teaching your kids? So see, you have all of these dynamics, all of these entities, all of these issues, concerns that are always coming up. And it's a known fact, the most racist day is Sunday. And if the preachers would get off of their high horses and start preaching what Jesus preached, there wouldn't be any problem. But the only time the white preachers preach about unity is when it affects, when they see that there's a negative effect on the white community. Give you an example. When EJ was murdered over at Galleria Mall, all of a sudden the white preachers got an uproar. Well, we need to come together. And then they got these sheep, or whatever you want to call them, black preachers agreeing with them. And basically you became a house. And see, we still have that mentality in the community. You have those of the house, you have those of the field. Same mentality. Same mentality. So you have these house individuals pairing up with these white preachers. But then all of a sudden, when the threat against the white community had lessened or was eliminated, all of a sudden, white preachers became quiet. Same thing that happened when Reverend Shuttlesworth during the Birmingham campaign. You had all these preachers writing these letters. Then you had these other black preachers standing up with these white preachers. Oh, you're causing problems. You're causing this to be. No. You just house. And we have got to understand the concept that if you are silent, when you know an injustice is being completed or being done, then you are an accomplice because you did not speak out on it. You allowed it. Now, I don't want to hear anything that, well, my check comes from the white folks. Okay. What's your point? What's your point? You allowed Bull Connor in his tank to use fire hoses on children. You allowed Bull Connor to have dogs to attack teenagers. You allowed it because you didn't speak up against it. So you are an accomplice. You are as guilty as the ones that were actively being participants. And that's the same mentality that we have here in Birmingham. You still have those mentalities. You still have those groups. And people don't realize that those families who are politically active, who have this dynasty of being politically active, who do you think gave them the power to be in that position, to be in that political position? The white folks. The white folks chose the least of the strong to lead the black community because they knew exactly who to go to. The elections proved it. Because the black community is still blinded. You would vote for a preacher that does not have any receipts of being active in the community other than in his church, but not in the district. You would elect, or you would vote somebody that has no receipts except for being a preacher. That's the only reason why you voted for him, because he's a preacher. But you know that in the community that he was never active in, that he's a hoe, that he's a whore, he's an adulterer, a fornicator, a DL. You know this. It's common knowledge. But you vote these preachers in because they're a preacher. But they have no receipts when it comes to working in the community. The district doesn't know the preacher. All they know is that he's a preacher. That's all they know. But does he know the district Or does he just know his community, his parishioners? See, we vote for popularity. We don't vote for someone who is qualified. We don't vote for the qualification. Are they qualified to be mayor? Are they qualified to be a senator or to be a representative? No, we vote on popularity. He's a preacher. He has got to be good. Them lies. Because it's common knowledge, but you don't speak on it. The man will be a walking porcupine. If as many women as he has sex with could be produced, and he would be a walking porcupine because he's a whore. And the only reason why the women have sex with him is because he's a preacher. He has his charisma. He knows how to speak. He knows how to present himself. But he's an adulterer. He's a fornicator. And that's what you want. Someone who does not have any type of receipts for the district? Get out of here. I've worked for numerous individuals. I've worked for at least conservatively, I think, 10 principals. Another 10 principals, 2 had no business being principals. Now, they were great men. They were good. They were deacons in the church. They were wonderful family. They were fathers. They were wonderful, but they were piss poor administrators. Indecisiveness. Couldn't make a decision in his life. But he was a good person. But he was a piss poor administrator. You need to take a look at the community as a whole. Is a community in the predicament that it's in because of irresponsibility? Lack of interest? Or you just don't give a happy God? Which one is it? It's got to be one or the other. Because you're voting these individuals in. You're voting individuals who do not have receipts of being community leaders. And just because an individual, and I call them name brands, just because an individual's parents were active and were good counsel people, that doesn't mean the child is going to be a good one. You don't see this individual doing all these neighborhood meetings. The only time you see them when they want to do, what do you call it, a photo op. But they're not doing anything. That's why you need to wake up and you need to pay attention to what is happening around you. You need to look at it face value. You need to look at it raw. Just because that individual's a preacher, just because that individual's parents were good politicians and good community leaders, that does not mean they're going to be good leaders when it comes to that position. You would rather vote someone in who was a whore, a down low, instead of electing someone who has receipts, numerous, abundant receipts. And I don't care about if his daddy's a preacher. I don't care about if his daddy's a bishop. Don't even care. That does not mean that the individual is going to be a good representative when it comes to the district. He's a peacock. He just wanted the position just to be proud peacock and also to enlarge his territory so that way he can have sex with everybody in the district. If he's not already having sex with them. And that's a shame. That is a shame. We have got to start educating this younger generation. We have got to start mentoring this younger generation. We have got to get to the point to where there should be no competition between the profit organizations and the nonprofit organizations. There shouldn't be any kind of competition. There are 4 fantastic mentoring groups here in Birmingham. You have C4, you have Ties to Success, you have the Men's Project, and you have New Generation. 4 fantastic mentoring programs. They are not in competition with each other because they fit a niche that's in their community. And if those 4 outstanding organizations can work in partnership with each other and not be in competition with each other, they are examples of what can happen. Their main focus is educating and mentoring the younger generation. That's the similarity. That's the similarity right there. But they have different objectives, different standards in how to achieve their goals. Which brings about another point that I didn't think about. This is our 6th month. For those of you who are looking for organizations to donate, because all organizations are looking for donations, sponsors, and donors, you have C4, you have Ties to Success. Also, if you have an abundance of ties that you no longer use, or if you know of individuals who have ties, check out Ties to Success. That's TIES, the numeral 2, Success. You can find them on Facebook. Because what KD Dunn does in his group, he gives ties to the young men, to the young boys of his organization, and he teaches the boys how to tie these ties. But that's just not the focus. When you are a young kid, when you are a young boy, 9 times out of 10, the first article of clothing that you have is a tie. So when you're coming from an environment in which is not that much positivity, but someone gives you a tie and you teach them how to tie that tie, if you don't understand the significance when it comes to the confidence level, let me tell you, it will boost the confidence of a young kid to know that this is my tie and I know how to tie it. And only boys and men would understand that concept. And I'm sure there's some women, but majority of the time, it is a wonderful feeling. So again, you have C4, Ties to Success, you have the Men's Project, and you have New Generation. They're always looking for sponsors. They're always looking for donors. They're always looking for volunteers. Then you have Be a Blessing Birmingham, Star Rob. She's always looking for help. She's always looking for donations. She's always looking for sponsors. Then you have the Crescent Cultural Community Center. And the Crescent Cultural Community Center is a place, just like an old-fashioned community center, that have multiple activities. Because those of us that were raised in, we were raised where there were community centers. And that's where we went. And that's where we were worked, and we played, we had basketball, tennis, different things. Basketball, baseball. But it wore us out so that way we were too tired to get into trouble. And that's another thing that should be reestablished, remodified, restructured, that we have a community center in each one of the communities. We need to educate this younger generation. The NAACP, the SCLC should have a student SCLC, a student NAACP, where the mentors or these individuals who have been there, done that are educating this new generation so that way they can continue with what was established, to make them more aware of the situation. Now, I have every faith in this new generation. They're going to be okay. And they're the ones that are asking these questions that should have been asked a long time ago. They are requesting changes and modifications that should have been changed and modified a long time ago. So I have no fear in this new generation because they're going to start this change. You may slow it down, but you cannot stop it, and you're not going to stop it. So are you a part of the solution or are you a part of the problem? Which one are you? Only you can ask that. That's a rhetorical question. Are you solution or are you the problem? And it's time for us to get off of our behinds and we start being actively involved in the community, in the electoral process. History has dictated that anytime there was a revolution, the middle class were the participants, were the ones to change, to ask for change. Look it up. Google it. And again, I say, anything that I've stated, Google it, research it, find out if I'm telling the truth or not. And if I'm not telling the truth, send me the source, let me read it. And if I'm wrong, I have no problem admitting on live that I made a mistake and I'm sorry. This is a fact. So let me know. Let me know. But I need the source in which you got it from. I need receipts. I need receipts. Again, keep in mind, don't forget about the Black Bread Company. Don't forget about Alicia's Coffee. Don't forget about 1179. Check them out. Facebook. You can't get any better product. And these are Black-owned businesses. Black-owned businesses. Black-owned businesses. And we got to start taking care of our communities, focusing on our communities, making our communities stronger and better, working together as a group so that way what we do in one community can process and can be, moved to another community so that way all communities are as productive and or as active in making their the community the best that it can be. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for letting me come in. I appreciate y'all for listening to me. And you know that I love you. Know your value. Know your worth. Know that you have control on anything that has to do with you. You control it. And again, know that I love you more than I love my luggage. And I'll see you tomorrow. Y'all take care. People of Birmingham, please make sure that you stay hydrated. The heat index is supposed to go into triple digit. So please make sure you take care of yourselves. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
The live stream on the show. On the show. The live stream. On the show. The live stream. The live stream on the show.